What's up, y'all? This is Panama Steve right here at Pacific Vibes. Tonight we have Mas Dulce out of San Jose, well-known entrepreneur. She's into real estate, insurance. She has multiple passions that she shares with everybody and, holds these huge events down the street over here at Keys Bar and many other places. Flown artists out from down south and other places. She's been doing this for a long time. Welcome on in.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here and finally making it here. I know we had been talking for a while, but good to be here and in great company. So thank you.
No, the pleasure's all mine. Like she said, we were planning on having you here, a month ago or something, and it's been raining quite a bit. We're trying to do the combo of have her car in here and take some pictures because I have the green screen back here at the Pacific Vibe Studios. We'll have the website up for all the package deals, but we were trying to do all that last time. And then what happened to your car?
You know what? Right now I'm getting it ready. I have a women's event actually that we're putting out at History Park. History San Jose is doing their first woman event. So
that's tight.
March is like a Women's International Month, and so this is the first time they're bringing women showcasing their cars, so women lowriders. So it's going to be a big event, and so I'm getting it ready for next weekend. So
wow, that's huge.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It is. It's really nice to be part of these, events that have never took place, and I'll be DJing, emceeing, and I'll be taking my car out there, and there's going to be a lot of ladies out there just representing. So it's huge. It's huge because the culture, the scene, it's been around, but with the ban being lifted 2 years ago, it's just more accepted in a sense, just more community-wise, and so it's nice to see the city and community and all these different organizations embracing the culture, and I love being part of it and contributing to it.
Huge props.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it for sure.
No, you've been in this for a while now, haven't you?
Yeah. It started with the music. I've been collecting, and I was doing an online radio show. It was this platform called Live 365. I don't know if you ever heard of it, but I had a radio station on there, and it was just full passion from collecting oldies, and I used to listen to another oldie station from there, and after a while, I was like, I have all this stuff already, and some, so I decided to make my own radio station, and honestly, it's just a hobby, and one day I went to like a Brentwood concert, and I made flyers, and distributed them and just say, hey, if you like this music, check out my radio station. And honestly, from there, it just took off because I met people that are like, oh, I think they liked the way I just applied myself and just went out there and networked. And it was with Street Low magazine, and they're like, we have a car show coming up. You want to set up a spot over there? And honestly, from there, it's history. It's like if I was really, it's like calling, right? Like
that opened the doors to.
Oh yeah. And I was actually promoting, I had an embroidery business. So I was doing both, but it was the music that just took off. And from there on, it's like, hey, have you ever hosted a show? Have you ever emceed a show? No. Do you want to? Yeah, sure. I'm not going to pass up an opportunity. It was like emceeing a show. I don't know if you remember the Avalon in Santa Clara.
Yes.
Yeah. So
when was that?
That was like in 2010.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're 14 years deep at least in this.
Yeah.
As far as DJing and hosting.
Well, for my radio show started 2009, so about 15 years.
Wow.
Time goes by fast.
Big props.
Yeah, and it was exciting because it's like from being a collector and an enthusiast, it's Brentwood is huge, right? And it's like, oh, I'm gonna host a show for Brentwood, and it like I said, it just went from there, and meeting Joe Batan, just meeting all these artists, and from there I started producing my own events because, again, what I find is that it's the beautiful thing is connecting with people. It's like finding your niche, and to me, it's been through music that has opened the doors for me, and to me, like putting the events together, and it all starts as a creative mind, right? It's all inspired by creativity and the music and the passion and putting something together that when you see it come to life and you see everybody with a smile and enjoying it, that's what it's all about. And that's what really got me. And it just I just became convicted into saying, you know what, this is what I want to continue doing. And people giving you props and saying, hey, I love what you do, keep doing it. It's motivating. So it makes me not want to, stop doing it. So.
No, that's awesome. And I believe that, you're following your passion. So they say, like, if you do something you're passionate about, it's like not working a day in your life. So you're doing it happy. So everybody feels that, and you're backing up the whole Chicano culture and keeping it alive. I think it's beautiful. And I think that, I give you your flowers. That's awesome. I hope to see you keep striving and keep going up and bringing out these artists and hosting these events and the women's lowrider thing, women's empowerment. I think you're going to the top with this.
No, I appreciate it. And again, yeah, I'm about embracing the culture and also being somebody who empowers women, right? We all have a story, and I think there's a lot of just sometimes envy and hate, and that's not my approach. My approach is more about embracing others, especially
unity.
Women. Yeah, exactly, and uplifting. So anything that I can do to contribute to that, I definitely love being part of it. So again, like this event that's coming up on March 9th at History Park, it's going to be a big event. So I'm really happy to be part of that and just see women out there, standing tall and proud of what they're doing, because even with like the music or the lowrider, it's male dominated.
Right.
So to see women out there doing their thing and they're showing out, they're clowning on some dudes, So
No, I've seen some of y'all out there doing your thing for years.
Yeah.
I saw this old documentary right here in San Jose. There was a all-female lowrider crew back in like the 80s or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's been around for a while. It's not, I grew up my teenage years in the 90s, and cruising was big. Like, to me, just me and my friends, my homegirls, like, we weren't even thinking about going to bars. It was like, we want to go cruising, Right. And it wasn't just like old school, like lowriders. It was just
regular cars.
That was the thing to do.
Around.
That was like the social media back then. That's
right.
where you met people and hung out, and that was the thing to do. So to see it again, and I think COVID actually played a part in just, it came back deeper because there was nothing else to do, in a sense. So like everybody was just cruising their cars, posted, and it just became bigger. I really feel that COVID kind of played a little bit of that. Like I said, it's
bringing
always
everybody
been around.
back together.
Yeah, because of the whole shutdown. And so what can you do? You could cruise in a car and nobody
Right.
can still gather, and nobody was really saying anything. So it's just been great to be part of that. The last 5 years, I've been part of the Lowrider Council, the United Lowrider Council of San Jose.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. And we have been, we've advocated for the community, and we've been recognized now at the end of August, September. It's been declared for a San Jose Lowrider Day. So
Wow.
that started last year. So it's been recognized on all levels, county, state, federal levels. So it's
It's
huge.
official, huh?
It's huge.
Stamped and sealed.
Yeah.
And you're a part of that.
Yeah, and I've been a
Wow.
part of that. I've been a part of that. So I'm fortunate and blessed and humbled, and I, like I said, what I want to do is just keep the culture alive, preserve it, because it's big, it's San Jose, but it's still like a dying breed at the same time.
I agree with you. It's
Yeah.
definitely not the 90s.
No.
Yeah, it's a trip. We're about the same age, because I grew up in the 90s. And, the Chicano culture was very strong.
Oh, yeah.
And so, yeah, compared to now, it's definitely going away. It's almost like we're looking back at it like how, the OGs in the 90s are looking at the Zoot Suit era or the Pachuco days, right? So it's a trip, But, yeah, I love what you're doing because, the thing that I shared with you earlier, one of your posts, I thought that was beautiful.
Oh, the Pachuco.
Yeah, that was beautiful, because you don't see that very often anymore, And you're like you're keeping it alive, keeping it lit, and we don't have enough of that. It definitely doesn't want to get lost in history.
Yeah. I'm just one person. There's a lot of people who are part of this, but I'm here just kind of to like I said, I appreciate the invite and just kind of sharing what I do and why I've done it. Again, I started out with the music, so I just kind of brought these as a gift to you for an
I
invitation.
appreciate that.
Yeah, it's my album. It's Lady in Red. I came out a couple years ago, and what it is, it's basically my collection, my vinyl collection. I collect rare soul, and I decided to put my own compilation together. And so to me, it's like a part of me again, how you connect with people and a legacy, right? When I'm gone, there'll always be something that kind of lingers.
Right.
Of Dulce.
That's awesome. Huge props. I can't give you enough. Because it's one thing to see you online or whatever you call it on Instagram, because you're always doing your thing and you're connected. I see you on other people's IGs as well. So you're obviously well rooted into this Chicano culture. If you don't mind, tell me about your upbringing and how you started and everything. If you don't mind, I would love to hear, and everybody would love to hear how you started.
How I started collecting, or just kind of
where you're from, and
Yeah, so my parents, my dad's Peruvian, my mom's from Guatemala, and I was born in Mexico. I came here when I was 3 years old, so I'm raised over here. But that has a lot to do with it. I think I kind of sit here and just evaluate my life and where I've been and where I come from and where it's gotten me to where I'm at, and why I'm so passionate about this is because when you come from immigrant family,
right,
you're building your own roots. You're just establishing your own roots. So to me, this is the identity where I found the connection, and it came. That's why I went to school in Milpitas, my elementary years. Moved to San Jose when I was 11 years old, and to me, I think what gave me so much freedom is I used to take the bus everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Back then, I used to take the bus everywhere. So, I just explored the city by myself, and I was only 11 years old. But back then, it was different, and I just would meet people, and moving to San Jose, and just again your friends, because to me, I have a chosen family, which is the people I grew up with, and so. And then I got in a relationship very young, when I was 14 years old. And so there was a little bit of influence of honestly a gang lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
The person I was with, which is my daughter's father, he was just very deep in the streets, gang lifestyle. And so that's something that I lived for a long time, and did the whole jail life, prison wifey shit, And so I talk about that because it has an impact in my life, right? And to me, living through that, and again, just overcoming a lot of adversity, living in that lifestyle, what I feel has not got me out of there, but something that I focused on and where I created my identity and leaving that lifestyle was the music, was collecting. And relationship went another direction, which was a positive thing.
Absolutely.
But it was the music. It was I feel like I put my energy and everything into the music. Being in a relationship where somebody carried weight in their name on the streets, it was like I didn't have an identity. I was always so and so's baby's mom, so and so's lady. And I didn't like that. I always said, I'm Dulce. I want people to know who I am. And I did that through my music and through my passions and my contributions. And so that's kind of my message. I feel that I think that there's women like that get suppressed into relationships that are not good for them. And you got to overcome those obstacles and find your own identity and push for it. And that's what I did. So from there, it's like I said, it's kind of, I don't know if we were kind of talking about it earlier. I don't know if it was already part of this, but to me, getting into the music, doing my radio station, promoting myself, it took me, I feel, to a calling of where I was supposed to be. Right. And it's because I said it's just started with the radio station. And from there, it's like, do you do this? No. Do you want to do it? Do you want to host a show? And started from hosting shows to producing events and creating events that bring people together and keep the culture alive. So, I mean, that's pretty much in a nutshell of how I got to be here. I was a single parent. I have a daughter. I have 2 grandchildren now, so I have 2
Wow.
Yeah, 1 daughter, 2 grandsons.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Abuelita.
Yeah, yeah.
I have a couple of friends that I started late. So when I was having my first kid at 33, I had a couple of friends that were already grandparents. So it was just a, kind of a reality check on both ends too. Like,
Yeah.
But it's cool. I always commend that, because you guys grew up with your kids. It's different, I waited until I was later on in life, but at the same time, there's a little bit of just, oh man, I kind of regret that I didn't have kids at a younger age.
I think it's all in divine timing, is like
Right.
how I like to call it. I think for me, I was 15 when I got pregnant, had my daughter at 16, and I mean, it's kind of, like I said, it's just like, for me, I was really like a studious scholar schoolgirl, and then I ended up with the thug, that
Right.
kind of story. So if people that have known me growing up since I was, elementary, I was like really always like this. I was the schoolgirl, I was like the top student in my class, straight A student my whole life. And you probably wouldn't have thought that I was going to be the one to end up getting pregnant at a young age, but it's just what happened. But I feel it's just kind of the direction, my upbringing. I had adversities at home. I left my home at 14, 15 years old, and I moved in with my daughter's father. And it's like we raised ourselves, and we were young, and he was living the street life. So I was exposed to a lot of things, and I feel like getting pregnant was actually like a blessing for me because it kept me straight. It kept me as with my daughter as my priority. And like that was my timing, because who knows, if I didn't, maybe I would have gone in a different direction. I don't know, but that's kind of how I see it. So, I think maybe you did the right thing. You probably did it the right way, but who knows?
Either way, it's the way that God wanted us to
Yeah.
live it, right?
Yeah.
Everything happens for a reason, and you grew up real quick, right?
Oh, yeah.
You learned a lot of lessons at a real young age.
Yeah.
I could only imagine, right?
Totally. Yeah.
I mean,
And I learned them early, thankfully, because I'm pretty fortunate to have a good head on my shoulders and snap out of, because I made mistakes. We all
Right.
do. And like I said, I was exposed into a lifestyle that I was exposed to the dog world, of how crazy it could be out there, how dirty it could be out there, how I was receptive to abuse and a lot of stuff, and so like overcoming all of that and just waking up and waking into awareness and saying, hey, this is not for me. I'm better than this. I need to move forward.
I'm glad you woke up.
Yeah, no, me too. But like I said, it's those mistakes that shape you and make you. So I don't regret it. To me, it schooled me. It gamed me up. It made me strong. It gave me thick skin, and so it taught me how to be tough, and yet a gentle mother. So it's the best of both.
And you got
worlds,
all
I
this
feel.
experience so young. So then now later on in life, it's nothing. You've already seen all kinds of things thrown at you by this point, right?
Oh yeah. And I dodged a lot of things because of the upbringing, the things I chose to do, the things I was exposed to, and it's like I dodged a lot of bullets too because of the awareness. And like I said, it's not a bad thing because, if I would have stayed just a schoolgirl or just on that straight boat, I maybe wouldn't have been exposed to that the doggy dog world
Right.
so early, and I would have experienced it at an older age, and maybe
And had no experience.
and had no
And you've been
experience.
totally innocent and caught off guard. Like, oh my God, I can't believe he or she did that. But
Yeah,
since you've seen that since you're 19, 20 or whatever
Yeah.
years, right?
yeah,
No, I feel the same. I grew up really young, and I've seen a lot of the streets and the good, the bad, and the ugly. And yeah, I'm very fortunate that I chose at a young age to chill out, you know. And I found Panama. My mother's from Panama, so I went out there and ventured on and found some property and started my whole new life in my early 20s, and that was a real blessing for me. So I can
awesome.
relate in a different way.
yeah.
But yes, yeah, big props on, you know, nobody would think that you're a grandma and, you know what I mean? Like,
Well, yeah, no, I know. A lot of people, actually, I feel like a lot of people don't really know who I am in the sense of like, do you know Dulce? Oh, yeah, she's into the music or the lowriders. But I think it's always, like I said, an identity thing is because I've always been so passionate. This is really who I am. But I have a very professional side, right? I'm like very professional side too, where I feel like in my professional world, nobody really knows I do this. It's, you know, and on this side, nobody really knows what I do on
you're like Superman and Clark Kent.
something like that. Yeah. It's like, who am I going to be today? But you feel what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? But it's been hard, right? Because it's always the acceptance thing too. It's like in a professional world, how do you really get looked upon in this lifestyle, right?
And the
you
other
get
lifestyle.
judged.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
You get judged. So it's always like I really have had like two identities. It's like really professional identity, and then I have my passions and my street life, you know.
Well, you're professional at that as well, if you don't mind me saying.
No, thank you.
And I understand what you're saying by, you know, people passing judgment, and, you know, I'm dealing with it, and we will always have to deal with it, unfortunately. But it's all about, you know, you moving forward and being better than the old you. And it looks like you're doing it. Like you said, you went from one door out to the next one, meeting new people, moving up. Look at you, you're hosting all kinds of stuff, you know, epic. Yeah, huge props. I mean, did you see yourself doing this 10 years ago?
No, I didn't even see myself doing it. Again, like I said, to me, it started out just a hobby, and the music opened a lot of doors for me. And even now, I mean, I'm 41 years old, and I still feel like I don't know what I want to do. Even though I'm in a good place, I'm established, I'm always wanting more. But I'm like, what's next? When I'm doing all of this, like, what comes after? Because I always feel like we're meant to elevate. You know, you're not meant to just stay stagnant. And yeah, you're doing all these things, but where's the next point of growth? What's the next point of elevating?
The next mountaintop.
Yeah, and so that's actually where I'm at right now. It's like,
Well, maybe I can help you out on that. You know, we're doing all kinds of small videos, movies, short clips, commercials. You know, we can network and put something together.
Oh, for sure, for sure.
That's what Pacific Vibe Studios is all about right here. So, I mean, there's all kinds of different things, you know, but what you're doing, following your passion, you know, I could understand what you're saying. Like, you know, what's your next goal? What's your next, you know, mountain to climb?
Yeah. And the way I go about it is like I go through moments like right now, I'm just kind of straight. I'm not drinking. I meditate. I trying to get back into my workout routine, because you need discipline and you need structure in life in order for things to come into fruition. Like, at least for myself, that's what I always found, that's what works for me. Like, don't get me wrong, like, I like to have fun, but having fun and all of that, like, sometimes, like, I'm like, dude, I wasted just, you know, I go and have fun on a whole weekend, and then it takes all week to recover, and it's like,
it's not worth it.
It's not worth it to me, you know, and I don't judge anybody, because, you know, there's people that like it and they're okay with it, but I've always been that person to just not be complacent. Like, I always want more, and sometimes I know it's not a bad thing, but sometimes it can get a little like frustrating for me because it's like I'm trying to figure out. But that's why it's like I go through my moments of like, you know what, I'm gonna go straight right now. I'm not gonna drink. I'm gonna stay focused. And I just, for me, discipline, commitment, like is very empowering because that's what's gonna help me get to the next level. I don't know where
It's a
that is.
package deal, right?
Yeah, it's just it's not gonna. Like I said, at least for myself, but you have to make
No,
sacrifices.
I agree with you.
Yeah, you have to make sacrifices. You can't be all over the place. You got to be committed. You got to be focused, and you got to be disciplined, and you got to give up some things sometimes.
So, with that being said, like we just mentioned a second ago, how you didn't picture yourself being where you are now, 10 years back or something. Like, what would you like recommend to others as far as like inspiring them to do something similar, to follow their passions and look where you're at. You just started by doing, DJing, spinning records and having a good time to like hosting the women's first lowrider event here in San Jose. I mean, you're doing great. Like, I would love for other people to be inspired by your story, that, you weren't like some crazy scholar or whatever you want to call it, uh, super connected. You made this yourself. And that if you could, show other people that this is not that difficult. You can make it happen. It's just a matter of just where you're talking about discipline and commitment and.
Well, yeah. What I can say about that is like one of the things I say is I don't wait for opportunities. I create them because that's what you have to do. You can't sit here and say, I hope and I wish that this happens for me. You go out there and make it happen. And the way that you make that happen is that you have to evaluate your life. You got to think about the things that you do. Do they benefit you? The things that don't benefit you, you got to shake them off. And you got to sacrifice. You got to think like, what do I want? To me, the older I get is the more I want to preserve myself. The more I want to take care of myself so that I could live longer. And what do you do for that? Well, you eat healthier. You don't put poison in your body. You take care of yourself. And all of that is physical, but it's what's going to help you build that strong mentality.
Right. It's all connected.
Yeah, it's all connected, and you got to apply yourself. Like for example, like my projects here, right?
Mm-hmm.
You see me, I'm on the cover of this album, right? There might be other young ladies out there that say, I wish I was on the cover of a magazine, or I wish I was on the cover of an album. But what are they waiting for? Are they waiting for somebody to knock on their door and say, hey, do you want to do this? Or do you go and do it yourself?
Make it happen.
You make it happen. And those are the things that open the door for you. Is you don't sit there and wait for them. You go and find a way.
Be proactive.
To create them. Like for these, like I have my album and my 45 record that I pressed. I don't know of any other female collector that's done that. So I and I say that proudly and not in a bragful or boastful way, but it just is just an example of something, right? To say, hey, nobody's done this. I'm gonna do it. How do I go about it? Well, let me look up how do you do this?
Right.
For one, what inspires me? Okay, how am I gonna go about this? And I have a creative mind, and I feel that it's my outlet. Like it's having a creative mind and putting it to life is what helps you become and connect to your higher self, and it really brings you closer to the person that you're supposed to be. And again, so think about what you want. You got to be focused and direct, and don't sit there and wait for somebody to come and give it to you, because it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen. You
Go out
have
there
to
and get
apply
it.
yourself. You got to go out there and get it. Figure it out. What is it that you want, and why do you want it? That's important. You have to know your whys. Your whys is what's going to give you direction. So, I mean, that's how I've done it. I don't like I said, I don't wait for them. I don't wait for the opportunities. I create them, and just socializing, networking is huge because you meet other people. I mean, you just told me yourself, like, just by speaking and sharing, like, I don't know what I'm gonna do next. Well, maybe we can work together, and
Right.
that's
Boom.
applying yourself, right?
Opens
Because
a
you're
whole new
talking.
avenue.
Exactly.
Right.
So that's what networking is all about, is rubbing elbows also with the right people, and
That's it.
coming together, because you can't do it all yourself. You know, it takes connections also as well.
It's all about networking.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. And yeah, and going out there and getting it more than anything, you know, having the goal and going and tackling it, because ain't nothing gonna come land on your lap. You know, like nobody told me like, hey, you know what you should do is you should go do this, that, and the third. Like, no, this is my idea and I'm gonna follow through on it, right? All the way.
And it's not
And look at
always,
this.
yeah, it's not
This
always
is the proof,
gonna.
right? Ooh,
Oh,
my
there you
bad.
go. It's not always going to work out the first time either.
Right.
Right?
That was the opposite of slick right now.
It's not always going to work out, but those are the growing pains and how you learn, you know, oh, it didn't work this way, but if you keep pushing, you're going to figure out the right way to do it, or the right way that's going to work for you.
No, that's what it's all about. And I think that you're living proof and inspiration for many, for me, for many people out here, and whoever gets to see this, you know what I mean? Because that's really what it's all about, is you just got to go out there and get it, and you're living proof. This is what it's all about. You know, there's a lot of people that, you know, want to judge from the sidelines and don't want to go out there and play, for, you know, for an analogy, just kind of like, you know. And I think that what you're doing is beautiful because it's a combination, you know. It's not just hosting, like you were playing your own records. That's crazy, right? And so, yeah, that's.
And like I said, I did it because it's a creative. I really encourage people, when you have like a creative idea, to bring it to life, because again, those are the things that help you grow and connect to your higher self. Like what you're doing right here with this place, right?
Right.
It was probably just an idea, or
we were just
probably shooting the shit with your homies.
We were messing around.
Yeah.
My buddy had the equipment.
Yeah.
And I said, can you come over here and record us doing, you know, just joking around? And then next thing you know, it's like, we need to get a little bit more serious about this. And then, yeah, it became like, okay, we need to do the green screen. We got to do this. We got to paint. Oh, man, we got to paint. So, yeah, it got real quick. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't too cheap either. But at the end of the day, this is going to be a recording studio for movies, commercials, short films, music videos. You can bring your lowrider in here and act like you're in Egypt or wherever you want to be. And that's what the green screen's for. So, mm-hmm. Yeah, it's almost like this. Like this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Like mm-hmm. you are so rooted and knee deep into this that it's this is just one of many things that Mas Dulce is doing. And like I said, that's crazy props. You got your hand in all kinds of the Chicano culture here in San Jose. And you continue to do that, and you're doing a fabulous job.
Thank you. And, you know, even little things, because, like, I remember back in, you know, the day I used to record from radio shows. There used to be a radio show called Radio Aslan, and it was broadcasted from San Jose State University, and I used to have my cassettes, and I used to record my own like playlist.
This
right?
is back in the day, right?
Yeah, back in the day. And then from that, after cassettes, it was like making my own playlist and burning it on a CD. And I would write, you know, whatever, like we'll call a playlist, give it a name or something.
Right.
But I had one time I had wrote La Rola No Me Deja Sola, and that's kind of been like a little like saying of mine that stuck with me. Well, because like to me it was the music. Like I said, La Rola No Me Deja Sola means the song Don't Leave Me Lonely. Because I mean, if you hear the lyrics to oldies, it's all like love songs, right? And to me, that set the bar of what love should be like. right? And so again, I lived in this lifestyle where I was always waiting for somebody that was locked up, and so what kept me company
It's the rolas.
was the rolas. So that was my saying. But if you open that and if you see on the record and you see on both of them, I have that saying on the label.
Is that right?
If you take the record out.
Yes. And don't drop it this time?
Yeah. Do you see it on the bottom?
Yes.
So I have it the same. And so I put that on my labels because that's like my little saying.
Oh, right here on the bottom. La
Yeah.
rola no me deja sola.
Yeah.
That's tight, dude.
And so there's a story to that, right? And like I said,
now you know.
Yeah, it's because the song never left me lonely. On those moments where I was by myself, it was the music that was always by my side. And I would write it on my little mix CDs. And then from there, you think that was like 20 years ago. But I put that now on my record. So it's just like a little thing that lives on and it's a part of you, right?
That's tight.
Yeah. So, I mean, those are the kind of like the things that I encourage because I think we all have that. We all have a mind. We all have a strong and powerful mind. And I think that sometimes people don't believe in themselves. It's just a thought, and they talk themselves out of it. I can't do that. Or it's just
Right.
that.
Or it's not good enough or something like that.
Yeah, but even little things like that, like I said, here I am. It was just a little saying that I had, and I used to write on my little mix CDs, but here I am. I'm actually making something out of it, and people buying them. And like I said, the day that I'm gone, it's going to live on, and it's going to be my legacy. And so those are the things that I encourage people to do is just never think your ideas are dumb. There's a reason why you're thinking it, especially if it's something that's constantly living in your mind.
Right.
Yeah, and you got to bring it to life.
Make it official, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's hella cool.
Yeah, I love to see people like doing stuff that is just creative, and it's like, oh, I never thought of that. And you see that a lot, and I think social media has been big on that because there's all these influencers, and you get inspired by them, and like, oh, I didn't, or sometimes there's stuff that you think, and then you don't do anything about it, but then a year or two later, somebody else is doing it. And you're like, damn it.
I was thinking about
Yeah.
that. Right.
Yeah. And those are the things that you like kind of kick yourself in the butt.
That's actually why I did this one.
With the San Jose.
Right. Because, the 7 letters starts with S and ends with E. And it just matched. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to do this before somebody else does. And this was a while ago. It was like 5 years ago. But I just never was on Instagram or nothing. I was kind of old school, like out the trunk with it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It was just not really official up until, 2 years ago or so, maybe 3. And then, yeah. But it's funny, you got to jump on it. That's what I thought on this. But this is just kind of like a side gig, like kind of what you got multiple things going on. I got multiple things going on over here too, So
yeah, definitely. I have a career. This is not, I don't do it for the money. It's hardly that, it's just a passion. It's just a piece of me that I want to share with others that are passionate about the same things that I am passionate about.
No, it's beautiful. And I'm passionate about the Chicano culture as well. I grew up right here in San Jose, had a bunch of lowrider centerfolds on my wall when I was a kid. And, one of my dreams, and still is to have my own old school. But, like I said earlier, I started really young buying property in Panama, which is a good thing. But about 4 years ago, I had a different shop. And my neighbor offered me like a Cutlass. It was like a 67 Cutlass for a really good deal. And then he ended up backing out, but it got my wheels turning on, like, once again, like a old passion from my childhood, really. I never let go of, you know what I mean? But I don't know how to, I've been back and forth to Panama so long. I haven't gone out, but it had been a while since I'd gone out cruising. But when I got back here from Panama back in 2013, I went out and hit the strip. And like you said, the last couple of years has been really popping. So it's cool. I enjoy it. It's not the same as when I was a kid, but I want to say it's a lot more organized because of social media. You know, as to, you know, back in the days, it's just a fluke if you saw the car clubs drive in.
Well, it was always like, come Friday night, everybody was gonna.
Right.
You already knew everybody was gonna be on the strip. That was the thing to do on the weekends. But yeah, no, I totally get it. And to me, there's just like levels to what you do. At least in the environment that I'm in, you know, I do have an old school car, and I've been in this lifestyle for a while. I've always been into my music, and you know, it goes hand in hand. But I didn't get a car until like maybe 5 years ago with my Impala. 4 or 5 years ago, but
this is your Impala right here?
No, that's not my Impala. I sold it, but
what year was it?
It was a 64. But the whole reason why, and like I said, is like I got asked to be part of the Lowrider Council, and the reason they invited me is because of my community engagement and the things that I've done and what I could bring to the table in a sense. But I was like, how am I going to be part of the Lowrider Council and I don't have a lowrider?
You got to have one.
Yeah, that's just like a step that I took, right? And it's the same thing with the records, you know. I collect very rare records. They cost money, you know.
Yeah, I saw
they're pricey records, but it's what I'm trying to get to. It's like a commitment, and there's levels to it. So to me, I take commitment seriously. So that was the thing. I was like, okay, I'm going to get a lowrider. Now I'm going to be committed because that's what it is. You don't just go buy one. You go buy one and start customizing it, right? So that's the commitment. Do you get what I'm saying? Yeah. So it's not just about like, oh, let me do it because it's cool and everybody else is doing it. It's like, no, it's going to be something I'm committed to.
A whole lifestyle. Right.
But that's what it was. It was like, how am I going to be part of the Lowrider Council and I don't have a lowrider? I got to go get a lowrider. So I could really represent, right? I'm not a half-assed person. Like, to me, it doesn't jive with me. Like, if I'm going to be about something, I'm going to be about it. I'm going to be committed and I'm going to take it all the way. Or else I just won't be part of it or I won't do it. But that's kind of like just the way I move.
So what is your next? So on the 9th, you said you have the all women's lowrider show coming up right here, right? Yes.
I'm very excited. I know other women are excited. I was actually part of about 2 years ago. There was a all women car show, lowrider car show. I believe in Manteca. So it was in the Central Valley. There's a women car club that put it out there. Shout out to Elisa over there. She worked hard and she put on this great event, and it was an all-women event. It's a car show because what is going on in History Park, it's a women's event. So they have like a poetry lounge and just showcasing women in different ways. But they wanted to showcase, it's San Jose, and you know the lowrider scene is big, so they wanted to have an exhibition for women lowriders. So it's not a whole car show, but it's pretty huge because it's all women, and that hasn't happened here in San Jose. So
I'll definitely be there. I got a couple daughters.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, that's cool because then I know there's going to be some pink and purple cars out there that they'll enjoy. I got a 7-year-old and a 10-year-old.
Nice.
So I took them to a couple of events. They know how I feel about the old schools.
Yeah.
No, that's hella cool, man. So tell me this, since I'm assuming this is probably going to be one of your biggest events, or I don't know about biggest, but something that you're most passionate about. What event stands out to you out of the last, who knows how many that you've done, that really like you enjoyed or that you were passionate about?
I enjoy all of them to a certain level, but I think one of the events that just really resonates with me is when we lifted the ban, the no cruising ban in San Jose, and it was huge. And I was chosen to do a speech, and that was to me very powerful because I was there to give a speech, but to represent women. And again, everything, if I'm assigned to something, I don't take it lightly. And so it was like, oh, what am I, it was like a speech. What do you want me to say? It's like, do your thing. And it's like, but to me, it's like I wanted my voice to be heard and like really resonate with people. And it did just that. Like I delivered a great speech. And I say that because of the, the audience. They totally connected with me. And it was like, it's kind of weird, but it was almost magical, to be honest with you, because, you just feel that energy. I'm all about like energy, right?
No, I agree with you. Like what you're doing is history in the making.
That's exactly what it is.
All
it was
this,
like a historic moment.
What you're doing, what you're talking about, like straight up. And I feel like we're keep giving you props and congratulations left and right. But like this is the real deal. Thank right you. Here.
Thank
for
you.
Real.
But that to me, because I sat there and it's like, I thought so hard about what I'm going to say and I couldn't. And it just finally, like I sat down and I wrote it out and it just flowed so easily and smoothly. And then when I actually spoke and just the audience and their energy and then watching myself on every newscast,
wow.
news show, like, when they were talking about or covering it, like every channel, it was me, like, and the paper, it was me. And I was like, I honestly, like, I cried, like, but it was like an emotional, like, I can't believe I did this. I can't believe, like, I was part of something so huge. I can't believe that my name is gonna forever be, present in this event.
Big props. Once again, big props.
No, and again, I don't mean like, not coming across like that, but I'm just very proud to be where I'm at and be able to represent for women and for the raza, for the culture. And again, this is where I've identified myself. I wasn't born into this lifestyle,
Right.
I identified with it and this is who I am. And this is, like I said, I have a legacy now. I have a daughter, I have grandkids, and my grandson was actually with me when I did the speech. So, but to me, like, I want him to be proud when he grows older and he
definitely
sees
will.
Yeah, he sees those videos, or he's gonna say, I was standing there with my grandma on
right.
the day the the ban was lifted in San Jose. Like,
right.
It's history, and it's great to be part of history. I just want to continue to just contribute as much as I can. I haven't, like, I do DJ and I am part of events or I collaborate. I haven't done my own, like, Más Dulce production event.
We're going to do that.
Yeah.
We're going to make that happen.
Well, it's venues. Like, I don't feel like San Jose is really, like, I like the fairgrounds, but, like, so many things have changed post-COVID. Like, I feel like it interrupted a lot of things. And so I haven't done anything since. I was doing an event every year, like 2017, 2018, 2019, and then 2020, everything shut down. And I tried to come back, and I was just like, for what my vision is, like, there's, because I like to incorporate cars, and
right.
But hopefully now, collaborating, like with History Park, I hope maybe to do something there, or I don't know, but I am, like I said,
we have the car show coming up, so maybe we could take advantage of that, do something that same weekend, or, there's a lot of people that are going to be coming out here. So.
Yeah, no, but things take time because you want to promote it. Yeah, and that's the thing. It's like, artists. I like to bring artists out that are, obviously, there's so many new artists, and I like to provide a platform for the new up-and-coming artists. They're all in LA.
I was just about to ask that.
They're all in LA, and which is not a bad thing.
It's not that far, though.
It's not, but I feel like, I don't know, every time I want to do something, I like being creative, and I like being unique, and I like to kind of put something out with new flavor, not something that everybody else has been doing,
mm-hmm.
and not discrediting anybody, but like I said, like, to me, everything comes with a creative inspiration, and I just haven't been creatively inspired on that level. So that's why, like, I'm not finding, maybe I'm finding an excuse to say, oh, I don't have a venue or something, but maybe at the end of the day, it's just really, I haven't been creatively inspired.
What kind of venue would you like? What would be ideal for you? Maybe somebody out here is listening and they'll...
Well, I had done an event at the fairgrounds, and that worked out great. I don't know why the fairgrounds is not really doing these events anymore. But it's just something that gives you enough space to have cars. Ideally, what was nice about like the fairgrounds or something like
What was that for the street law?
no, it was my own event.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was called Chicano Soul Fiesta, and it was at one of the halls. But what's nice, it's like built-in stage already.
Mm-hmm.
You want stuff that's already there, and you don't have to kind of bring it.
Right,
You know,
set it all
making
up,
easier. Right. So ideally something that can involve cars, something where there's already a stage, and just enough space, and just obviously something that's not going to cost an arm and a leg, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah. And again, because I don't do this for the money, but I always like to, at least if I'm going to invest in something, I want to be able to at least recoup what
Absolutely.
I put out.
Absolutely.
And always a plus when you make more, right? But that's really, you know, I haven't, that's something on the back burner that I'm like, I still want to do that, you know, because I get people, hey, Dulce, when are you going to do your event? When are you going to do a next event? And I just don't have an answer right now, you know, but soon.
Well, hopefully somebody will reach out, you know. Mm-hmm. Maybe we can, I understand what you're saying. You need an open setup, a lot of room, like the fairgrounds. Mm-hmm. Maybe, you know, something can be put together.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Now that the people know that you're looking for a proper venue, now it's time to, you know, shoot that information over to Dulce, see if we can make it happen. So, it was an absolute pleasure having you in here, but I want you to tell folks how they can get a hold of you, how they can find you on IG, and just obviously your upcoming events.
Yeah, IG Mas Dulce Soul. Go ahead and hit me up. That's pretty much the platform I use. I don't use Twitter, Facebook, barely. So really, my point of contact is basically IG. Mas Dulce.
Mas Dulce. Mm-hmm. It was a pleasure having you in tonight.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Big props one more time. Because you are really history in the making. And I continue to watch everything that you're doing, and I'm a big fan of yours.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thank you for having me.
It's a pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
All right, y'all. Have a good one. Until next time, take care.